Video game industry is really insufferable sometimes, okay? For as much as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has reinvigorated my love of the medium, I see the same dumb stuff that drove me off gaming rearing its ugly head once again. If it wasn't for console wars back in the cut that has already just kind of fallen by the wayside, mostly with, Microsoft exiting the industry, Nintendo off doing their own thing, and Sony just continuing to try to cling to the lifeboat outside of the Titanic. Why are you trying to create this artificial tension between two games that don't have anything in common with one another? So here you have the headlines: Stellar Blade absolutely destroys Final Fantasy Rebirth as fans flock to Elden Ring Souls-like. Square Enix has a problem. Why does this have to be a competition? Okay, why can't people like both games? Okay, here's the thing. Like, it's already pointed out, Stellar Blade is not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Okay, this isn't a situation where you have a Battlefield game and a Call of Duty coming out at the same time. Okay, you're not fighting for the same consumer base here. This is like saying, okay, cool, I like baseball, but pudding is better. It makes no sense at all whatsoever to try to compare the two. Final Fantasy VII is 130 plus hour. By the time that I'm done with my hard mode playthrough, which will hopefully be starting here in the near future, I've just been busy doing stuff, as always. But to kind of follow up on a video that I did earlier this week, I think it probably came out earlier this week, where I just laid bare the analytics of the channel and then just really came clean with everybody. Well, not so much coming clean, it's just kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit. I'm going to be taking a little bit of time to myself to refocus, relax, and recover. So yeah, I'll be dedicating more time. My favorite gaming experience of the past, I really don't even know how long. I really love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But yeah, Stellar Blade, from the people that played the demo, yeah, it's a Souls-like game. Is it more like Elden Ring? Is it more like Dark Souls? Is it more like Lies of P? Like, I've heard a bunch of comparisons. It's just none of them, outside of some people that just need to get good, haven't been able to compare to Final Fantasy VII at all, outside of the fact that, yeah, they're both, Sony exclusives? Okay. Well, there's a problem with moving hardware for Sony. It's completely and totally separate consumer bases, so stop trying to make this artificial competition happen. It's not going to happen. Stellar Blade is a new IP from South Korean developer Shift Up and published by Sony. Fans have been waiting for the game's release, and the statistics of the demo have shown a great surge of interest. Compared to other popular games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's clear that Shift Up has an edge that Square Enix doesn't. It's kind of capitalized on what Hogwarts Legacy from last year also did, capitalizing on controversy. That's exactly what is happening out there, because there you have Eve, and you're going to have a whole bunch of simps. I already hear people already planning their booby streams because that's what they want to see, and a lot of people like the Souls-like genre. Like I said, when I dipped out of gaming a half decade or so back, the predominant genre that was out there that was really starting to pick up was hero shooters. I had zero interest in picking up any of those. Before that, you had third-person action cover shooters, Gears of War style games, and FPSs also running over the top of it, and I was just kind of getting bored and tired with shooters, and the fact that all of them were starting to become homogenized crap. And that's kind of what I'm seeing as an outside observer. I understand that there's a lot of good ones, but then there's also a bunch of clones trying to capitalize on the successful formula that From Software has created, and even people who are longtime adherents to the genre, longtime From Software fans, are starting to come around to the idea that, wow, they aren't really doing all that much different with their gameplay, and it's starting to get boring. That's why last year's Lies of P was such a refreshing take on the genre, because they were doing some different things. I really hope for the people that are genuinely excited and not being caught up in the, oh yeah, we'll show you, we'll buy the game and support Sony in order to push back against woke culture. It's just as dumb. By thinking that if you're going to be buying a piece of plastic to stick it to woke culture, you're just as much part of the problem, because you're not contributing to a solution. Like I'm saying, like the game, just if you're going to try to be an anti-activist by spending your own money in order to stick it to somebody, you're not helping out anything. But the demo of Stellar Blade did twice as good as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Are we comparing demo to demo, or what kind of comparison are we making? Recent data has shown that the player count for the upcoming exclusive from Shift Up did better than expected compared to the well-established sequel on the PS5, and I've talked about that recently. I think that video went up, and if not, did a breakdown as to why the sales for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, at least the numbers that we have available to us, are where there are, where they are. But despite being a new IP and being compared to one of the biggest games of the year, Stellar Blade's demo is doing better than expected. Like I said, there's a lot of hype surrounding this game, a lot of which about as organic as the protagonist, and developers have been politely asking fans to go easy on it and enjoy the full game. But a lot of people, hey man, like I said, like the game if you want to, and the people who played the demo, opinions have ranged from aggressively mid to, hey, quite promising. There's nobody coming out and outright saying that this shit is trash, okay? That's good. The demo was accidentally published a month ago, and a good number of players were able to get their hands on the unofficial release before it was pulled out. Pause. The eagerness of the community is a positive indication that the game may do well even with tough competition. So you are comparing the demo to a full price release. Exactly fair. And that's why I don't like that these types of, fake faux competitions are popping up, because it's completely different, man. I highly recommend. I'm probably not going to play Stellar Blade. Like I said, not my jam. Souls-likes, I don't really care that much for them. I prefer RPGs. That's been my jam for as long as I can remember. And I just think that you get incredible value for your purchase with Rebirth. Like I've said, I rolled credits on my dynamic playthrough at 130 hours, and now I'm just starting into the hard mode stuff. You're not going to find something of such high quality for that long of time with such replayability. You're not going to find that anywhere, okay? So yeah, we can quibble back and forth, which type of games do you like? Which ones do you think are better for the industry? But can't we just go ahead and really just address the elephant in the room, that there are some terrible business practices that are out there right now that a combined effort of the gaming space could really drive out if we put our minds to it? And here we have, once again, another beleaguered franchise just being torn apart by anybody that can get their grubby little hands on. We talking Star Wars, bro. But Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, once again, we're going to be talking about this, okay? And it's not going to be about that horrific trailer, but Outlaws copies and escalates the microtransactions in single-player games Dragon's Dogma 2 started. Yeah, that's another thing, because Dragon's Dogma 2 came out, and I'm really seeing a lot of buzz of that game. Hearing that the gameplay is good, but the microtransactions make it impossible for people to promote. But Star Wars, being the idiotic IP that it is in current day, and Ubisoft over the top of that, making that just going, ooh, we see some bad practices over there, and you know what? Hey, guess what? We can take those, but guess what? We could do it better. And this is some old school stuff that I can draw a comparison to. Ubisoft's Star Wars Outlaws is being hailed as the game that fans of the franchise needed and deserved. Yeah, no, everybody wanted to play as Han Solo, going around the galaxy, filling in the gaps before A New Hope. Yeah, they really wanted that story told. They really wanted to, pal around with Chewbacca, pilot the Millennium Falcon, but then Ubisoft's like, yes, guess what? We got you on this one, so we're just going to go ahead and stick a chick in it and make it lame and gay. Stupid French Canadians. Story trailer and gameplay walkthrough have given gamers a glimpse at the rarely explored underground elements within the story. Oh my god, somebody didn't pay attention to The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, but I think your brain cells are probably better off because of it. But rarely explored? Like, come on, man. I have a character that is from that world. He had a movie back when Star Wars made movies. Didn't make any money, but they did have a movie, as well as it's almost everything Ubisoft. Oh, great, so there's going to be towers in space. Yay! The title, too, has landed in some controversy. It seems the company is implementing some unpopular practices that's learned from Dragon's Dogma 2. However, it is doing so in the worst possible way, with the titular and much-awaited mission is now locked behind a season pass. Where have we seen this stuff before? Safe to say microtransactions are not popular among gamers. While common in multiplayer and live service games, full-priced releases, especially when you're walling off DLC on day one, has never been popular. That was already a big problem way back in the day, but normally you would expect this stuff from EA. Then again, they don't have the exclusive rights to Star Wars games anymore. They're probably messing something up in the background. Yeah, while it makes sense for live service titles, single player games are usually supposed to be one and done when it comes to payments, aside from post-launch DLC. And yeah, that's another reason that I gotta go ahead and give it up to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. No microtransactions, no planned DLC. They've got the entire team together, and they're going to be working on Reclaim. I'm going to go ahead and bet that that's going to be the name of the third installment. Like I said, I get into a lot more of that stuff with the other video. So when Ubisoft announced that there would be a season pass for Star Wars Outlaws, everybody just rolled their eyes, and it's like, holy shit, is this 2014 all over again? The community was rightfully surprised and annoyed. First reported by Spanish outlet Arena Juones. The game's official website details and everything included in the pass. The decision was annoying enough, but Ubisoft has even locked the Jabba's Gambit mission behind it. Oh my god. So in all of their promotional material, by the way, and even in that trailer, you had, we have the iconic Jabba's Palace, and that mission right there, in order to go to Jabba's iconic palace, is locked behind DLC. You can't make this stuff up, and this is why the AAA space is imploding in and of itself. There's a reason that I trumpet Final Fantasy VII Rebirth so loudly, and will continue to do it long into the future. There's a reason that I hope that Stellar Blade is wildly successful for the game that it presents, not just for people just trying to see pixelated titties. It's like, you could just go online, they're just a couple of clicks away, for God's sakes. Stop simping, it makes the world worse. But when you have the rest of the AAA gaming space continuing to descend in these destructive practices, we've seen what happens when we had nefarious business practices over the top of a release from earlier this year, paging Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, or their own game, with predatory season passes, with antiquated gameplay mechanics, which is what we've seen with the gameplay trailers, which, holy shit, it looks like every single aspect of the worst third-person Ubi slop that we've been fed over the past. They haven't updated their games since, what, Assassin's Creed 2, Far Cry 3, for God's sakes. It looks like that, but with the Star Wars paint over the top of it. Now you're going to be taking the worst aspects of EA when they were at their most tyrannical. Yeah, this game deserves to fail. It deserved to fail for just looking so boring and making the obvious mistakes that Star Wars has ever since Disney acquired the license in 2014. But now you have a whole new reason not to even hate buy this, not to hate stream it or even hate cover it. Just simply look at it, wait for its release at the end of August, report on the sales data, and then just laugh at Ubisoft in the aftermath when they try to go, you didn't buy it because you don't like the women in the Star Wars. No, here's the thing. We like the Star Wars women, even the ones that are out there in the modern incarnation of the IP, okay? But here's the thing. You tried to lock the proper representation of your average female Star Wars character, rather fan, behind DLC, and yeah, we wanted to go to Jabba's palace, but if you aren't going to allow to see ourselves represented on screen, yeah, we just can't support your project, brah. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.